No, we're not Loren Meadows, but it takes 3 of them to replace him. This was supposed to be music that felt like I was in Paris.
Yes.
That felt very Paris. But I did bring my bottle of wine.
I love it.
I got my cake. I'll eat my cake. What are you doing now?
Yeah. I love it.
Have your cake and eat it too, buddy.
Yep.
That's all right. Welcome to the Lowdown. I am Brenden Martin. He's Buddy Martin, and that's Rob Browne. And we're filling in tonight for our buddy who's bougie, apparently, and he is in Paris with his beautiful wife. Ouch. I think I just pinched my knuckle inside this thing. Loren can't be with us tonight. He said he was going to call in, but he obviously, things happen. So here we are, subbing for our man. And it does our great honor. So as we always say, Dad, in tradition, when somebody is not here, they're really just on assignment. So tonight, Loren Meadows is on assignment.
What an assignment he got.
What an assignment he got. So Loren Meadows not with us tonight. He is on assignment somewhere out there, Loren. Be safe. I hope to hear from you soon, especially traveling these days is not so fun. Buddy Martin joins us from GatorBaitMedia.com. Rob Browne from SEC Sidelines Sports Podcast. Join him every Monday through Friday, and me sometimes 9 a.m. Eastern with all that good stuff. You can join this program by easily subscribing right over Rob's face. No, I mean to X. No, to that's YouTube, not X. It's called SEC Sideline Sports Network. Follow that QR code right there. It's free to join. You get all of our latest and greatest in podcasts and all that much more going on. It is really good stuff. Gentlemen, we kick it off tonight. Lots to talk about. One being that the Florida State boards are not happy with the choice. So you are rejected. You're fired. Buddy, you have more details on that. We have recruiting news. Kaiden Hall, 4-star commitment out of Milton, Georgia. Is that right, Rob? Milton?
Florida.
Panhandle.
Call Georgia to me, boys. No.
Oh, no, my friend. No, it's not.
Your audio's so low with us tonight. No, I'm just kidding. We love everybody up there in the boot. He is a 4-star, big commit. Kicks off the summer because now Gator baseball, as we know, is not so good. Buddy will have us updated about the latest and greatest in Kevin Sullivan and his apology release and all that good stuff, as we talked about this morning with Rob. And whatever else that we need to know, Buddy Martin, is that a good enough intro for you? I've been around Rob.
I'm hoping just to be a participant tonight and be lay low in the weeds and eat my cake and watch the Raiders. So they didn't go on nothing. But this, obviously, I got called to duty, so I'm ready. I'm ready to suit up with Rob Browne, as he's always ready. It's next man up, and I expect Franz Beard to join us shortly. Updates on his book. I think the story right now, as we coming out of the Kevin O'Sullivan story, which was really an unfortunate thing that happened. People, I'm sure everybody knows somebody. I think what happened there. They had a big blow up, and the people up in coastal Carolina, and Sully was out of line, but they got nasty about it. Really nasty. And Sully got kind of admonished by his boss, and they had to issue a joint apology, both Scott Strickland and Kevin O'Sullivan, about what happened. I don't know if I can get into the whole thing, but basically they did some funny things there. They changed the time of the game on Sully, and it really upset him. I'm not going to make excuses for him because he didn't handle it well. I think Rob, the guy, was fried. He has come down to the end and gave everything he had. I'm not making excuses for him. He shouldn't have done what he did. But the fact is that to get from 1-11 to get towards 500 and win all those series, like what was it, 5 or 6 straight, and you get there was remarkable. And then he just couldn't get the pitchers to get the ball, under control. And he had 2 bad games against both the teams. East Carolina, and at the end of the day, it was ugly because Coastal Carolina took the opportunity in his press conference to give a cheap shot to Kevin O'Sullivan. But when you do that, you leave yourself open, Rob, to other criticisms. So as much as I hate it for Sully, that he brought it on himself. So that's that part. The good news for the Gators is they're getting some recruits. Brenden mentioned one, Kaiden Hall, in Milton, Florida. What's significant about Milton, Florida? Well, Billy Napier buys his donuts there. His favorite donut shop is in Milton. And by the way, just so you know, you'll see Rob and I together a few segments, including coming up Thursday night, where we're going to be doing a little more on the Panhandle because there's a lot of things going on up here. My friend, I got another Rob who's going to be on with us Thursday night. Got good friends like Dr. Ornoff over in Destin. There's a lot of people, as you know, Rob. You know the Panhandle better than I do.
I love it. I love it.
Your grandma, your mother been coming there 80 years?
86 years.
Holy mackerel. You're going to tell us about 30A and all that. Anyway, we'll save that for the next show. So that's what I've got going on right tonight. And Rob, you're getting ready for baseball.
Yeah. And I'll say this. Kevin O'Sullivan's a fierce competitor. And that's okay. I mean, but look, I listened to the way the Carolina coach reacted. I mean, you know what? Those guys are both coaches. Go talk to each other. And I want a coach like Kevin O'Sullivan as my coach because he's going to fight for you. But they change the times. And y'all know this, when you've got the pitchers, they're down to the minute on their rhythm. Never put yourself in a position to fail. And when you do that, it does open up a lot of doors. But they need to move on from this. And Coastal Carolina calling out another coach at the press conference, man.
Tacky, very tacky.
I mean, remember when Nate Oates made the comment?
I just don't know what you accomplish. Like, that's the thing. Okay, yeah, I get it. I get being pissed.
Yeah,
I get the emotions, but
yeah,
come on, this doesn't serve you. I don't know. It doesn't. I mean,
yeah.
it just does. It's a bad look, man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame him for being mad, but God, if they have a microphone around all of us in every moment of our day, dude. It's tough. And when you're out in the public spotlight, that's going to happen. But, he's still at 7 World Series, a national championship. I mean, he's an elite coach. And to pull him from 1-11 to win 5 of the last 6 series is absolutely amazing. And every day it's going to get a little bit better. And, the national media, it's slow time of year. That's why this is a story.
Yeah, Kevin Brockway last night had a good phrase for it. He said, hot takes and hot mics don't go together. And there was one guy heard everything Sully said, including all the F words.
Yeah.
That was obviously on social media. And that's the risk that you run in today's world. That's what it's all mic'd up, Brenden. It's all mic'd up.
Listen, this is nothing new. This is 101, right? I literally have told people time and again, just assume the mic is on. You just don't know because it's because you just get comfortable with the fact that you think it's always off or that person's always got your back. It's always on. So, And especially now, I mean, now you don't even know if it's in the room because you can't see it. So you might as well just shut your mouth.
Yeah.
We used to have a saying there with Tom Schmitz, who I heard from yesterday, who we worked with him.
Where's Tom? We should have Tom on the show. You don't know Tom, do you, Rob? Oh, man. We're going to bring Tom into one of these Friday shows. You're going to love it.
I was looking for a place to live again. Anyway, the point is, I'll tell you about it later. But anyway, Tom and I did radio and Brenda a long time. And Tom had a few problems early on. He never done radio. And he got clipped by a hot mic. And I used to say, write a note, put it on the board. There is no such thing as an unloaded pistol or a dead mic.
Mm-hmm.
Words to live by.
Yeah.
And with that, we bring in Mr.
Turn the
Hey! That was
Franz Beard.
It's a perfect intro for you, Franz.
Hey guys.
Hi, Franz. How are you?
The TV volume down.
Darn Duke.
How are you, sir?
What's up, Duke?
Another day in paradise, guys.
Yeah. We were trying to make sense out of the recruiting news. The kid's name that we couldn't pronounce, I think it was Geneve or whatever it was, big 315-pound offensive lineman from IMG, but also from Ocala.
Yeah.
They signed him yesterday. Then today's guy from Milton, the 4-star safety, Kaiden Hall, sounds really, really interesting. 6'3", 200, and he chose Florida over Alabama, Florida State, and Oklahoma. So I think they got a few things started for 2006. They were kind of slow getting it going, France.
He's really picky about the guys he needs, and this is going to be a year. They're not going to lose a lot of seniors this year. They're going to lose a lot of seniors on the offensive line this year, but they're not going to lose a lot of seniors in the defensive backfield. They're not going to lose a lot of seniors among the wide receivers, etc. So they're going to be very picky about who they get, because I'm guessing they're probably going to look at a class of about 15, 16 guys this year. And I understand this about recruiting rankings. So much of it is based on volume, plus they weight the rankings on the fact on your quarterback. Okay. If you don't get a quarterback, your rankings are not going to be that high to begin with. But if you get a 4-star or 5-star quarterback, your rankings get this because you get extra points. It's a formula that I don't know that anybody except the people who make the formula think it makes any sense at all. But Billy's pretty picky about guys. And it's kind of like, I look also at a guy like Todd Golden with recruiting. I mean, how many 5-star guys did Florida start in its starting lineup this year? See, Condon wasn't. Chenyalu wasn't. Chenyalu was a no-star. Condon was they elevated him to a 3-star after he signed with Florida. Walt was a no-star. Elijah was a no-star. And Will Richard was a no-star. So it so much of it depends on this. You got to fit the pieces to what you need, and you got to get guys that can play your system. And I think that Billy is at a point. You look at how they've developed guys to begin with. They've done a tremendous job of developing guys. Florida has fewer guys from the portal of anybody in the SEC this year, and yet they've got all these experienced guys that they brought up through the system. And I think that this is what they're doing. And if he comes through with a 9 or 10 win season this year, I think a lot of people are going to start saying, well, maybe he is onto something here. It's like LSU this year, buddy, and Rob and Brenden. I don't LSU, I think, is going to end up being the most overhyped team in the country, because I think they're going to have 18 to 20 transfers are going to be playing for them. Now, maybe they're the greatest coaches in the world and they can get all those transfers to play well to begin with. Maybe they've figured out what Lane Kiffin can do. But you look at what Lane Kiffin does. I love Lane, but guess what? His teams get to a certain point, and then it's kind of like they're Wile E. Coyote on the rocket, and all of a sudden chasing the Roadrunner, and all of a sudden it's like that. The rocket goes off the cliff and down, and Wiley splat. I think there's only so much you can do when you have a lineup that is dominated by transfers. Look at how Georgia's going to start 8 or 10 transfers this year. Georgia. And we're supposed to believe that Kirby Smart is the greatest recruiter that God ever put on this earth. And look at all the transfers he's going to start. I think Billy's doing it the right way. I don't think you have to go. If you've got the right coaches and you can develop them, and you've got an athletic department and an administration that will back you up and be patient, I think you can build it the right way. Nick Saban did not get to where he was using the transfer portal.
No. Can I throw some numbers? Last night, Touchdown Club in Memphis, Tyler Siskey. He does a great podcast with Neil McCready. Tyler's coached at Alabama, played at Auburn and Troy, coached at Ole Miss, and he pointed out he's big into numbers and analytics. You ready for this? These offensive linemen, I asked him a question about development and about 2 years or more. He said, absolutely. Offensive line is the one position more than any other in football that requires development, the process. And you remember when you talk about Kiffin in the portal, that Washington offensive line in 2023 that got defeated by Michigan in the national championship game, Kalen DeBoer, they won the Joe Moore Award, best offensive line in the country. 2 of those starters went to Ole Miss. I don't think they got on the field. It's like Tyler said, you're learning this offensive system at this school. You transfer at Christmas break, you come in, they're not developing, they're not learning, they're just going off. And here's a stat that'll blow your mind. 66% of the kids going in the portal are either not getting picked up or going down. The average number of starts for guys that go down when they transfer in the portal, which has been around since October 15th of 2018, the average number of starts guys make in the NFL when they do that is 1.12. And I'll tell you, Billy Napier, this is my personal opinion, is building his program. Laugh all you want. He's following the Dabo model. And you're going to see it this year because look at Clemson in the preseason. Look at the Gators. The portal, it's starting to crush itself on its own weight. I really see this happening, and I'm dovetailing on what Franz said, but I think Ellis Johnson said it yesterday. Billy Napier has figured this out, and I think it's going to be a very good year for the Gators. I got him at 10.
Yeah, his best players, by the way, I'm sorry, his best players, though, are the ones that he recruited.
Yes.
Lagway and the running back.
That's right.
They got their best running back room maybe in the conference. And their wide receivers. The portal guys he's using them right. He's filling in where he needs to with the portal. But it's the core of fans of the team, the players that are getting those guys. You're not going to get the 4 stars and the 5 stars very often. But I also think it's a fact you got to get the best players. You have to get the best players, and you got to coach them, and they got to execute and not make stupid mistakes on the field, which as we've seen they did the first couple of years. I think we're all expecting quite a bit out of this team. I was asked today on Shane Matthews' show, what's it going to take Billy Napier not to get fired? I don't think he'll be fired. It'll take a disaster. But what's the safe number? And I said 8 wins. He's got to have 8 wins or they've gone backwards. And so, but I think they get in the range of 9. And some people, even Shane, are saying maybe 10. Again, because there are not that many great quarterbacks, Rob, around the SEC. And Brenden, you guys have talked about that. Their quarterbacks are not that great. So far as guys.
Here's Athlon came out today, okay? I want you to listen to this.
Where'd you get it, by the way, friends?
That's so funny.
Books A Million.
Rob's so pissed.
I went to Barnes and Noble. I've been
so
going
pissed.
everywhere. They don't have it.
He's been pissed about this for 2 weeks.
Okay. Quarterback rankings.
Franz
Florida,
I got it right
number
here.
5. Running backs, number 9. And this is national rankings, not SEC. Offensive line, 5. Whoa. That's pretty darn good.
Say that again.
Thank you, Rob.
Wait, rewind. Say it again.
Rewind.
Florida's quarterback room, number 5 in the country. Florida's running back room, number 9 in the country. Florida's offensive line, 5 in the country. Now let me read you what
Who wrote that? Who wrote it?
Athlon.
I think, but who wrote it? I read it for Athlon. Who's the author in that article?
Yeah,
They say.
Good point.
Anyway.
It doesn't say. It just
That's what he
says.
wrote for Athlon, anything else.
It says
Okay,
this.
We can't read it
Rankings.
backwards. It's backwards. We can't read it.
Well, that's your problem, buddy. I mean,
Yeah, no, I know it's not.
Tell him,
It's
Franz. Don't dig his shit.
everybody's problem. We can't read it. It's
All right.
back.
Franz, I'll fix you. I got you fixed, Franz. Look, hold it
That
up.
holds
Franz,
up.
go. Hold it
That
up.
holds up.
I got you. I fixed you, Franz. You're good.
Go ahead.
Franz,
You
show
won't
again.
be it won't be backwards now. I promise. I got
Here
it.
we go.
all right.
Come on, Franz.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, it's Athlon, not Athol. Okay.
No, it's Aflac.
Yeah, I have to tell you, this reminded me just all of a sudden. I took a year off because everybody in the newspaper business was, the Washington Star laid off 3,300 people and so on and so on. And I took a year off and I sold insurance. Okay. And I'm in Miami Beach and this lady is telling me, well, my shoulder hurts and my head hurts and my knee, I got to get it replaced and on and on and on and on and on.
My God.
And finally, I mean, this was on, and we're outside her building and it's like 120. And I finally just looked there and I said, hell, lady, we've all got problems. You want this damn insurance or not?
Did she buy it?
She said, well, I want it. I said, well, keep telling me about your problems. And she did.
Did she buy insurance? Did you get the sale?
I did.
I'm sure you did.
Now I'm going to give you, they've got the SEC rankings, position rankings too here. And I want you to read what Athlon thinks about Florida rankings. Okay. In the SEC, Florida has, it says, the fourth best quarterback in the SEC, which I can't believe. The fourth best running backs, which I can believe. I would say higher, but again, seventh best wideouts, which is interesting that with all the freshmen that they have them at number 7. Number 2, offensive line. Number 8, defensive line. 7 linebacker and 10 DBs. Now, back in the day when we only had 12 teams in the SEC, being ranked 10th was pretty bad. But when you're in a 16-team SEC and you're as young as the Gators are in the secondary, being 10th isn't that bad, nor is being ranked number 8 in linebackers. Florida's going to be really good this year.
Linebackers are going to be really good.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And here's the other thing that not a lot of people are taking into account, and that is the fact that good old Coach Roberts is going to be in the booth from day one. And I don't know what Billy was thinking last year when he had Austin Armstrong up in the booth. I do not know why that happened, but when Roberts goes to the booth in those last 4 ball games, guess what the defense did? The defense goes out right there and sacks Nussmeier 8 times. I guarantee you that boy's going to be, when Florida comes out on the field, even with all the noise that generates in Tiger Stadium on a Saturday night, he's going to be hearing the footsteps. And I love what his concept is about the creeper defense. He says the idea is to make quarterbacks see ghosts.
Yeah.
You're seeing a guy coming who ain't coming, and the guy comes meanwhile from the other place and flattens you. And I guarantee you Garrett Nussmeier will be seeing ghosts again.
Well, they got a security guard hired just to keep Roberts from going to the press box. And if he tries to put him back on the field.
Well, he started that creep.
If he's on the field, I'll put him in the booth, yeah.
The creeper defense at Delta State and then Southeast Louisiana. If y'all remember a game 3 or 4 years ago, Matt Corral, the Ole Miss quarterback, Ole Miss played Baylor. He didn't know come here from Sikkim. Ron Roberts, the defense. That defense that he runs.
Creeper smokes that creeper.
He's a heck of a player.
It's a lot of that creeper to get that creeper defense.
It's a great defense.
Jeepers creepers.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. See, you start looking at the trends and just start connecting the dots. The Blue Chip Index last year had Florida number 9 in the country, 63% of the roster on the 4-year cycle, 4 or 5-star players. And you bring in the guys like Dallas Wilson. I think this dude and Ryan Williams at Alabama, Cam Coleman at Auburn, they are going to embarrass a lot of defensive backs. Florida's now got, and that running back room, of all the great players they had under the Spurrier era, I still remember Ernest Graham out of Naples, Fred Taylor out of Belglade, and Eric Rhett out of Pembroke Pines, Florida. Those, to me, are the ones that really made Florida, as great as those receivers were. and now you got a running game. I just think Billy is a younger version of Dabo.
Well, let me just correct you on one thing. The reason those running backs got that yardage was Spurrier was usually up 35-7
Yeah,
at halftime.
I agree.
But
I mean, I know, but
throwing the ball, and they run their draw play, the Eric rep, the rest of this.
Yeah, no, I know, but I'm saying, but early on they lost some games when they were still throwing it in the fourth quarter. Those guys allowed them to just suffocate people.
What Spurrier was, he got on an airplane, and the old coach of Michigan, Schimbecker, was there.
Yeah,
and he told him basically, son, you got to run the ball, son. And he started Spurrier at that time. He would never run it. Yeah. And then remember that story, friends? He started running the ball with a lead, and everything was like then just signing off,
Well, here's another thing I remember about Coach Spurrier, and you remember this, buddy. He was asked. Somebody said, "Well, you only averaged 130 yards a game, running the ball," and Steve looked at him and said, "Yeah, but how many times did we miss on 3rd and 1? How many times did we not convert 4th and 1? I don't remember they ever got stuffed on third and less than 2 or 4th and less than 2, and the ball went to Eric Redd. I do not remember them ever getting stuffed one time with that. A great running game isn't necessarily when you're running for 300 yards a game. A great running game is when you need 3 yards, you can get it. That's a great running game. Mm-hmm. And Steve always had a great running game, and I think this is going to be. Let me throw something at you guys since Rob brought up Dabo.
We can't get it, Rob. Ryan.
Names tonight.
Wade Boggs.
Names and I are screwing up tonight.
Dabo,
yes, Wade Boggs. Dabo was 4-3 when he took over for Tommy Bowden in 2008. Went 9-5 the next year, 6-7 in 2010. They were ready to fire him. Yeah. Dabo then goes 10, 11, 11, 10, 14, 14, 12, 15, 14, 10, 10, 11, 9, and 10. He's done
10.
He's done pretty well.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah. I got one for you guys today, a little trivia quiz when you're ready for it, all right? You should know this should be a slam dunk. This example is used all the time in terms of a guy not being ready to play. What you love in your athletes. When your time comes, don't ever give up your position. If you do, you might not get it back. Who am I talking about, Rob?
General Patton.
When your time comes, was that Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig?
Wally Pipp.
You're close.
Wally Pipp, yeah.
Go ahead, say it again.
Wally Pipp. I mean, friend, that's the deal. Don't.
Hang on. Today is the 100-year anniversary when Wally Pipp decided to sit down. He had a cold or a headache. Now that could be apocryphal. That's what the story is. And consequently, what happened to him? He left the field and didn't get back on the field, and Babe and Lou Gehrig set the all-time record, became the Iron Man, which is where France got his name from, the Iron Duke. So, yeah.
There you go. History there.
Yeah, Wally Pipp. That's a well-known phrase today. Anyway.
Love that. God.
Kegley is over 3 so far.
Yeah, anniversary. Yeah. When you get ready to talk about it, we'll talk about the Florida Board of Governors vetoing the new president of Florida. That's a political story. But I want to get the Wally Pipp story in today. And I think, someone said Ernest Graham's hometown was Fort Myers. That's not correct.
No, it was Cape Coral.
Yeah.
He went to Mariner High School, and people don't know this. He was the off guard for a kid named Teddy Dupay. They were best of buddies, and they were the backcourt at Mariner High School. Teddy Dupay scored.
Shoot a little bit, yeah. I was working down there then, France, in those days. Yeah. Anyway, just a little history there. So, whoops, what happened?
Well, we're going to talk about Meldon Law, so I thought you just like.
Oh, okay. I'll
really
be happy to do that. Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. I'm sorry. I'm digressing. Sorry. I want to get that in there.
Yeah.
So Meldon Law, I love talking about Meldon Law because, first of all, they're a bunch of good dudes over there in Deuces. Secondly, they're very loyal to their university and to their friends, and they do a terrific job in law, which is one reason I got them, because they're my lawyers. I kid Jeffrey Meldon all the time about this, saying, dude, you talk about what it's like to get a new bus transportation for the band. You talk about your buddy Todd Golden winning the national championship. You talk about how much fun you had on the trip. But let's not forget, you have lawyers, and you do, in fact, provide a great service. The only official law firm, probably for the University of Florida Meldon Law, they won't back down. Check them out. 4 locations to serve you: Ocala, Gainesville, Williston, Lake City, Meldon Law. They will not back down.
Not to mention the fact that Jeffrey Meldon is as good a guy as you could meet. If Jeffrey tells you something, you might as well set it in stone because it's as good as gold.
Also, it's a lot about music too, by the way.
Well, it's fun to tailgate with.
It is fun to tailgate with. Yeah, you got a beautiful house in Gainesville too. Yeah. All right, so there we are, guys. Okay, I don't know how deep we want to go into this. Some of you might know that the University of Florida has been talking to this guy Santa Ono, right?
Yeah,
France, and he is from Michigan. France has a little bone to pick with him about letting him cheat and get away with it in Michigan, but he's highly regarded as an academic, and it was considered to be a major upgrade in terms of his skill level at Florida, being the top peer. And we thought it would be this is just a matter of formality. The board would approve him. Guess what? They did not approve him today. So Florida is without a president. And France, one thing that I think people in sports liked about him, even though he had a spurious background with the coach at Michigan, that we all know, that is that he was a pro sports guy. He really loved it, and he emphasized it, and he supported winning a football team. So I don't know, sort of open to the people out there. I think it might have been political. What do they think about the fact that Florida turned this guy down, or the Board of Governors turned him down? And seemed like he was a good candidate. But without politics, I don't believe in getting politics involved in education. That's just me.
I don't think it was about, I hope it wasn't about the politics. I'm afraid it was. But let's throw the politics aside, as you said, buddy. Here's a guy that allowed the cheating to go on, and he knew it, and everybody knew it, what was going on up at Michigan. And when, look, we fired coaches here over a lot less over the years. And this was actual, when we're talking about cheating, people have been paying players for years. That's been going on for years. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I mean, NIL, all that means is now it's legal. I mean, Hugh Freeze was an NIL pioneer. That's how I look at it at Ole Miss. Some of these, Will Wade was a definite NIL pioneer. But here's the thing: people have been paying. There've been $100 handshakes in every program in the world as long as we live. This was sanctioning outright cheating, going there and stealing signals and stuff like this. The president of the university knew it was going on, did not fire his coach, did not fire the assistant head coach who also was involved in it, and let it go on, and would not have fired Partridge, the guy who was on the staff who was doing it, except they needed a fall guy. So they got the guy that had been okay to do it. Now, nobody in this world is ever going to convince me that Jim Harbaugh didn't come there and he's got this detailed report about, well, if the coach does this, this, and this, that means they're going to throw the deep out on the left side. Nobody's going to tell me that he didn't know that. Jim Harbaugh knew it. And Jim Harbaugh gives it the silly, what did I know? I was just the old football coach here. I got hit on my head too many times when I was playing. Bull. He knew. And so did the president of the university know. And I'm sorry, but as I look at this right now, I thought to myself, when they elected to hire him, I thought, okay, maybe they know something we don't know, that maybe that there were extenuating circumstances and everything. But as I thought about it more, and then I see it happening today, I'm thinking this needed to happen. This guy needed to be gone, because, we're a school that has prided itself on doing it the right way. We've had one NCAA issue, maybe just two, since 1990. And for the entire program, for all the athletic programs we've got. And we have prided ourselves on doing it the right way. Jeremy Foley's lasting legacy, and Jeremy had a lot of faults, but I can tell you right now, one of them wasn't running a clean program, a clean as a whistle program. Jeremy Foley ran the cleanest program in the country. And that can't be disputed. And now just bring in a president who has sanctioned cheating. As I look at it, the more I've thought about it, the more I'm saying we need somebody else, even if it means dealing with Dr. Kent Fox for another however many months. This guy's a disaster.
Well,
too.
he just seemed like he was a shield for Harbaugh, but and that was not going to be something that's going to be very good for Florida. Obviously there was political. Ultimately in the end, the decision was 10-6 fans or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah. Florida. Let's see. There's a story. Florida Board of Governors voted 10-6 to reject Santaono's appointment as U.S. 14th president, overturning a unanimous approval by U.S. boards of trustees on May 27th. This marks as a rare instance where the state board reversed at the university presidential selection. So there you go. So there's that.
Well, like I said, like you said, pointed out too, Brenden, I'm just, as I'm looking at this, I'm thinking to myself, okay, if we're going to be, you can't tell everybody in the world that you are all for doing it the right way if you don't do it the right way, if you don't hire people who do it the right way. It's kind of like this, would I hire Will Wade? If all I was interested in was a coach, I would say, oh heavens, let's hire the guy. But if I'm looking for somebody who'll do it the right way, do I want Will Wade with his background of cheating? No, I wouldn't. Everybody's got to make their own decisions about that. But I think the University of Florida has said for years, we're going to do it the right way. And if you're going to do it the right way, do it the right way.
Well, he stuck his nose in a lot of it. It says he was, he got a lot of backlash for his pro-Palestinian support. He was very polarizing. It seemingly in a position maybe that's not such a good idea to do. Whatever, he's not here. I agree. We'll take Foxy Lady for a little bit longer. DJ Lagway looking good in some throwing video online. Budrow, have you seen this?
I have. I talked about it on Shane's show this morning. I was really impressed. By the way, before I go any further, I'll throw this in there. Number one, what would be your favorite thing tonight if you were in Paris? Hi, Loren. How you doing? Hope you're having a good time.
Hi, Loren.
And don't worry about us. We're just working.
Mm-hmm.
And
don't worry about us.
Tell me about who you think has got the toughest 4-game stretch. I got one, as I call a month of scorched Saturdays, which I'm writing about this week. And what was your question, Brenden? Oh, yeah. DJ Lagway.
Yeah, that guy.
Look, I love that guy. I loved him from the moment I saw him throw, and I saw a lot of video. Loren accuses me of watching 30 seconds of video. Now I watched him a lot online, and he's in high school. I saw some things. This guy, I'm no genius. I just loved what I saw. The accuracy and the mobility and his keen awareness where his receivers were. He threw them open and the things he did. I thought he was sensational. I was really worried about the arm situation, and we had a little bit of a tete-a-tete about that online about whether or not he really had an arm problem. And he did, I found out. It was an issue. I don't know. I know it was a problem that they thought they could treat. And when I saw him yesterday on video, the throws he made and moves he made, and he, by the way, is a rock. Somebody said he's just a piece of chisel like a rock. Unbelievable body. And this kid is something special. He is throwing the ball terrifically, which looks good. We know that if he's got the last season for him. So yeah, it looks. I'm very encouraged by that. And the 4 games I want you guys to pick out in the SEC. I got mine ready when you're ready. This is what I call a month of scorched Saturdays. Okay, check it out. LSU at LSU September 30th, night game. At Miami September 20th, to be decided. I'm sure it'll be a night game. This is the biggest game, and Shane and I said it might be the biggest game ever played in the Swamp. The most expensive ticket ever in the Swamp. Mark it down October 4th. Texas and Arch Manning come to Florida. What a game that's going to be. And then Florida turns right around the next week and goes to Texas A&M to play there. I'm telling you, that is what you call 4 hard games, 4 scorched earth Saturdays. I don't know. If they come out of that with at least 2 wins, they come out of with 3 wins, they're going to have a good run, maybe a shot at getting there. But that's pretty hard, guys, I think.
I think the key is going to be this. I think the key is going to be that Miami game, and I am not sold at all on Miami.
There he is.
Another one of these programs that has gone way too hard into the transfer portal. Lost a lot of players in the portal, picked up a lot of players in the portal, and they're going to have a record again like last year. Now they beat Florida fair and square. They killed Florida, and if they played later in the season, if they played later in the season, I don't think Miami would have been.
Watch this move.
Watch this move. Sorry.
He's you know
I love that little.
By the way, when I saw him last Saturday at the
what's that?
At the softball, I thought I was looking at Brandon. I thought I was looking at Brandon Spikes. The body is just. It's. I mean, he looks like a linebacker. The key's going to be Miami. They beat Miami. I think 3-1, 4-0 is a real possibility. They can't lose to Miami. Period. For one thing, I think Florida can get into Carson Beck's head. Florida was into Carson Beck's head big time last year, anyway, and before DJ got hurt. You know, if DJ doesn't get hurt, Florida wins that ball game. And Carson Beck looked like he was terrible in that game, and I don't think he's gone from a program that was better than the one he's going to now, and he had better receivers at Georgia than he's going to have now. So I like Florida in that game.
Got a 4-game stretch in there before we get to the end of the show. Rob, you got 4 games there?
Well, I mean, I'm not looking. I'm trying to pull up these schedules. But if you could pull them up on the screen, it'd be a lot easier if we have it. But I don't get caught up in logo fever, because not every team that's supposed to be good is going to be as good as advertised.
I'm not a big Miami fan. I just don't believe in them.
Well, they've had 2 double-digit win seasons in the last 20 years. They've never won the ACC, and they are living off of 1983 to, early 2000s, and they had a hell of a run. Played for like 9 national championships, and they won 5. But I think Florida goes down there and wins that game because they will physically manhandle Miami. And I don't care if they have Carson Beck or not. You know, he's a guy that he's really good, but I'll take Lagway over him any day. But Florida, everybody made too much out of Florida's schedule last year. And I think really
next year or this year?
Last
the
year.
hardest schedule in the country.
No, it was, but I just think Florida had DJ Lagway not been hurt against Georgia, they very likely win that game.
Well, we didn't know that when the season started. We had no idea how good DJ Lagway was.
If Graham Mertz doesn't get hurt, they beat Tennessee. Let's be real. If Graham Mertz doesn't get hurt, they beat Tennessee.
And they were very close to winning 10 last year. I mean, who was the one? The A&M, that was Marcel Reed's coming out party. Okay, Georgia. And then the Miami and the A&M games early, and then the Texas game when DJ Lagway didn't play at all and you were on your third team quarterback. Texas is – I talked to a good friend who was out there from the mid-'80s until 2013 as a sports anchor in Austin. He's right. He goes, they love to pound their chest. Now, Texas has a lot to be proud of, but all the money they spend, when they come to Gainesville, they have not played in an environment this hostile. Alabama was so used to winning, that really wasn't that bad. Florida's hungry. They're used to winning, but they hadn't been winning like they have been. I'm with Buddy.
There you go, Rob.
Texas, yeah. Texas comes in. That is going to be insane. Golly, man, you look at these. Those are last year's scores.
You said you wanted last year.
No. I was just talking about last year's schedule. Florida barely. I mean, that Tennessee game, that went down to the wire. Georgia, it's 20-20 with 7 minutes left, and I remember vividly what they did. They dismantled LSU. Remember, LSU guys last year had 2 tackles that were rated, I think, by Pro Football Focus as both first-round draft picks, and Florida pulled off 8 sacks against LSU and Nussmeier last year.
Well, that's a team. I'm not a Brian Kelly fan.
I'm not either. I'm not.
What do you think about that game on September 13th?
I think it's a brutal game. It's a night game in their swamp, and Baton Rouge is, of course, it's a hard game. And they're good. They're good. I'm not saying they're not. Nussmeier is arguably the best quarterback in the league. He's got the most experience, and it's a difficult place to play. So I don't know. It's going to be a difficult one.
I don't think he's the best quarterback in the league.
His numbers are. He has most experience.
He's been there. He's a fifth-year player, so that gives him that experience. But, Arch Manning, it was brought up last night. If Arch Manning's name was, Irk Russell, I don't think. Well, that's a great name. But if his name
Irk Russell's a great name.
Yeah,
where?
Erskine.
Franz Beard.
If his name was.
Doesn't have a great quarterback name like that. I mean, really.
But Clarence Beeks. If Arch Manning's name is Clarence Beeks, then I don't know if we'd be making all the fuss over him. I think he's really good, but Quinn Ewers, for instance, he gets a Darwin Award. Okay, a Darwin Award. He could have stayed in college another year, and looks like somebody was willing to pay him $8 million. He goes into the draft. Remember, he missed 5 or 6 games over 2 years because of injuries. Red flag. What does Nick Saban say?
Red dog.
There's 2 conversations that you have with the NFL people when they come and ask about a player. What do they come? Let's say they're talking about Brenden Martin, 6'4", 212-pound wide receiver from Nice High School. And they come in, they want to talk about him. And Saban says there's 2 conversations you have. Brendan's a great kid. He's always at practice early. He always opens the door for ladies. He loves his family. He loves his country. But he goes, when they get into that and that's Nussmeier, too many turnovers. I don't like that. You're a 4th-year player and you're still doing. I don't know. And I'm not sold on Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly hits for average, but he doesn't win championships.
He's lost 11 games in 3 years, and 2 of those years.
Arch Manning is the real deal.
I think he's good, but
no, he's beyond good. He's beyond good.
Brian Kelly has lost 11 games in 3 years, and 2 of them were with the best college quarterback we've seen since Cam Newton.
True.
But the defense was fourth world. It was so bad. Matt House should never be allowed to coach a defense in college. He's But I tell you, Roman Harper was on the show yesterday morning. He said he's watched a lot of tape of Tennessee's quarterback, the one from UCLA who went to App State for 2 years. He goes, Aguilar turns the ball over in every game, even when they're ahead. He goes, he just has a habit of turnovers. Wait until he sees these SEC pass rushes with guys bigger than Brenden.
Much bigger.
Taller, faster, stronger.
But not as handsome.
No.
That was weird, buddy. That was cringy. That's my dad. That's my father. Just so you know, we're good.
But do they have an eye like Brenden that goes? Boop, 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 boop,
boop. You know what team this is right here?
Team Browne.
Pileated woodpecker. It's a pileated woodpecker. Not the ivory bill, but the pileated.
No, not to be confused with
the ivory billed woodpecker.
My basketball coach in high school called me a peckerwood a lot. So.
Okay, this show's gone down now. Loren's going to come back and be, what did you do?
I can see that.
You could see that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Peckerwood Central. All right. And last kind of final thoughts here, gentlemen. Franz, what are you? What's next for you on GatorbaitMedia.com? What are you writing about?
I've got a column coming up about the SEC meetings. What did they accomplish? And the answer to that is absolutely nothing.
It feels like a lot of nothing.
Nada. A lot of what was the Shakespeare play? Much Ado About Nothing.
Yeah,
and that's what we wound up with. And the same thing, and it carries over into what we're seeing with college football now, and that is you have no leader.
No.
Greg Sankey's the only leader out there, and they want and I guarantee you the rest of the college football won't put him in charge because they think all he'll do is promote the SEC. And Nick Saban doesn't want the job for the same reason. They don't have a leader. Charlie Baker, who's the head of the NCAA, might as well be running a homeless shelter. They have nobody leading, and they're expecting our Congress, which hasn't balanced a budget since Newt Gingrich was the Speaker of the House, to get it done. That ain't going to happen.
No.
Yeah.
Newt Gingrich. Wow, that's fun.
Wow.
Okay.
I like that.
Rob, what you got tomorrow morning, Rob?
Gonna have Auburn baseball coach Butch Thompson on talking about the SEC teams and his thoughts on 4 of 13. That's it. That's all that's left. And the matchup.
Brenden says Butch Thompson's a good dude.
Yeah, he's a great dude.
I really like that guy.
Love him. And from Coontail, Mississippi, right outside of Amory. And one of the kindest people you will ever meet. Just what he does off the field is incredible. And we'll also have Dudley Dawson, Hogville.net, Vince Ferrara from up on the hill in Knoxville talking about that super regional. A lot of baseball, football, basketball. And I got to tell you, friends, y'all are right. I can't wait to get my hands on that athlon. I will be searching the Mid-South tomorrow for a physical copy.
If you don't have an athlon by 9 a.m. Eastern,
you're fired.
You're fired.
By Friday, I'm going to get it. I'm going to go. I'll go to Nashville. I'll have somebody mail me one.
Or just call Franz. He'll give it to you. Just call him out. He'll read it for you.
Yeah. Who's on the front cover there, Franz? Perry Mason wanted to know.
Well, it's a big scam.
Believe it or not, they have Gunnar Stockton on there.
You got to be kidding me, pile.
Where did you buy that then? Because don't they have every team on? You can get every team.
Where did you get that?
Why did you get Georgia then, Franz?
Because probably when it sold out.
Because that's the only one they had, Brenden. They had a stack of them this high.
Because everyone got the Lagway's obviously on Florida.
Yes.
They got Lagway. They got Lenora Sellers, who never met an open receiver he couldn't overthrow. And they have number 23 for Tennessee, whoever that is.
Not Nico.
No, it's not Nico. I can't pronounce his last name.
Maliava.
Yeah, that's all we have to know is not Nico. That's what that number is.
Yeah.
Oh, that is Boo Carter, star 23.
Oh, he's pretty good.
Whoever he is, unless they got somebody on offense. Of course, we got duplicate numbers now, so it could be. I don't know. Why would they put? I mean,
Friends, this takes 60 seconds. We're out of time. I'm not producing.
Yeah, we've got 60 seconds, and we got to keep it up. We got to shorten.
I want you to answer. Please, Perry Mason's asked you 3 times what you think about the Sully deal. Keep it to 1 minute.
Sully was right to be pissed off. Was wrong to use the F word about 180 times in 36 seconds, and should be smart enough to understand that hot tempers and hot mics are bad deals. He was right to be pissed off. He was really right to be pissed off, and deserved to make an apology, and he did. Now, did he mean it? I doubt it, but he had to do it publicly anyway. Scott Strickland should have had a caveat in there to say, look, we apologize that he went over the top, but he had a right to be upset. And I wish Scott had made that concession in there, which he didn't. So that's I'm upset with that. I really am.
Tomorrow morning, I hope you'll be sure and tell the Coach Thompson that a lot of Gator fans hopefully he'll kick the butt of that Coastal Carolina coach for throwing it yet. All right.
Ask Butch about the Halbert brothers and Trice Barber, all from Amory, Mississippi.
Well, you know what? He likes Sully.
I know.
I like Kevin O'Sullivan. You know what? He backed his team. I admit it. We've all gotten a little bit mad before, but
nope.
He's one of the best coaches in college baseball. He ain't going anywhere. And just
saying.
Yeah, just saying.
He's pretty good, and Auburn's looking pretty good, by the way.
Yeah, I love SEC baseball, and I thought Florida would be winning that Super Regional, and coming to Super Regional.
I'm pulling for Auburn now because I'm a big Butch fan. So there you go.
Well,
all right, Rob, tell people what time tomorrow.
9 a.m. Eastern with Brenden Martin, executive producer, and we'll be starting Butch Thompson, Dudley Dawson, Vince Farrar. A lot of football, basketball, baseball. Yeah. Butch will be on in the morning, at 9 a.m. Eastern. He's already gone to bed.
You won't have this
in the morning. Sorry about that.
But you will not have the.
I will find it, friends. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna search all over
before the time runs out.
I expect that.
Titan MRI is now Titan MRI in imaging. They acquired Highfield MRI. Joe Colorio started Highfield in 1997. Now he's back. Titan MRI and imaging. Now there's 3 locations to serve you: 2 in Gainesville, with its Park Avenue location, and now the Millennium Center, and now 1 in Lake City, serving all the Columbia County and Valdosta, Georgia. Titan MRI and imaging offers the same great customer service. They accept insurance, or you can go through their self-convenient self-pay option program and set up what you would do for your payment plan. They offer MRIs, CAT scans, X-rays, and other things, and they give you the big cage.
They get the big. If you freak out like me.
That's right. Guys like Brenden won't get in there and get all claustrophobic.
Yep, you can go in. They take walk-ins. They're all good like that. That's good stuff out there.
Yeah, they're good. Great job. Good folks. They've been sponsoring our show for a while. We appreciate folks. MRI and imaging. Brenden, good job tonight. I never did see Loren.
All right, dude. He's on assignment, Dad. He's on assignment.
And he's not. He's having a cocktail in the Eiffel Tower. What he's doing.
I'm gonna send some rock and roll his way from America. So, buddy, thanks for coming on. Thanks for being on the show. You've been watching the Lowdown. Good night, buddy. Love you, Dad. That's Buddy Martin. He is. Just kidding. All right. Goodbye, buddy. Thanks to Loren Meadows. You are watching the Lowdown with Loren Meadows. I am not Loren Meadows. He will be back next week, though, and he'll have exciting new guests and tales from Paris. Gay Paris. There it is. So, but to the Parisians, we play some loud music, and we say go Gators. Thanks for watching the show tonight. Watch Wire Browne tomorrow. We've got so much more stuff in program this week with tons and tons of new podcasts and things to check out. So with that, I say adieu.
and go Gators.